Fred, Frank and Philip. And they're all friends and they're all frogs. And what on earth has that got to do with great business? Here's my very personal question. If you're in business, if you're planning on going into business, if you're excited about having your own business, what kind of atmosphere, what kind of place do you want your business to be? And I've used the number 3 for a very important reason. There's a great book in relationship to the company Starbucks, the coffee company. And their original philosophy was to create a third place. A place for people to come and feel at home, feel comfortable, be non-intimidated, to feel welcome and to feel like they can stay for as long as they want to. So the philosophy is that we all have 3 places. Our first place ultimately is our home, and we need to feel like our home is our safe haven. We love our home. And that's a really good thing to consider. Do I love where I live? Does my home provide me with a place that makes me feel special and amazing? Makes me feel like I can then go out into the world and feel like I've got somewhere special to go back to. Obviously, the second place should be your place of business. So where you work, or the place where you earn money, should be a place that you feel safe and comfortable and non-intimidated and feel like you can produce your best work, you can be your best person, you can be the best at what you do. So first place is home, second place is your work or your business, and your third place is the place where you go that obviously isn't home and work, but it's somewhere that you feel really excited to go, safe to go, not intimidated, and really appreciate it. And that's what Starbucks was looking for, a place that people could call their third place. Now, some people, their third place is the pub. It could be their best friend's house. It could be the gym is a top spot that people use as their third place. Some people will use martial arts studio, a dance studio, might be a park, it could be the beach, but somewhere where you go, where you can be yourself and absolutely love the way it makes you feel. And of course, that's what Starbucks wanted to do. And if you have a look at how the Starbucks system is set up worldwide, if you go into a Starbucks, nobody's going to come and say, hurry up, get out of here, we need your table. It is welcomed that you stay there all day and do your work or talk to your friends or play computer games or just hang out. It's a third place. So it's a great question. If you want your friends, and these are my fabulous 3 froggy friends here, do they feel that they love being here, they love feeling comfortable? It's a place that makes them feel welcome, feel safe, a place they can have fun, a place where people appreciate them, make them feel important, would never judge them, would never be nasty to them, criticize them, gossip about them. And that's the question I'm asking today, because one of the successes in business is that people, yes, love your product or service, but the ultimate is, do they love doing business with you? Do they want to buy your product and service from you? And the people who study that stuff, the behavioral scientists, the head doctors, the psychologists, the psychiatrists, they are used on a regular basis by big business to study the buying patterns of humans. Why do we buy something? Why do we buy something from a particular person? And if you think about why you buy stuff, could 1 or 2 or 3 of these come into play, or all 3? We tend to buy products and services from people that we like, that we trust, and that we have something in common with. So it's a really good question when you're putting your business together, or if you're in business right now and your business is not as successful as you would like it to be. Do my customers and clients like me? Do they trust me? And do we have something in common? What do I need to do to build rapport with my customers and clients so that we feel like we've got a connection? And that's a really interesting thing to consider in a time in the world where there is so much of the opposite. There's so much mistrust. There's so much, I don't like you because you've got a different opinion to me, or I don't like you because you've got a different political persuasion to me, or I don't like you because our ideas on what the government's doing and how the country's working is opposing. So I don't like you and I'm judging you. Interestingly, a lot of the businesses that have done exceptionally well in a time of drama, turmoil, worldwide pandemic, medical crisis, global financial crisis, all those big words that you hear every day, why is it that some businesses fell off, some businesses went broke, some businesses have really struggled, and other businesses have done exceptionally well? And obviously with having a business college, owning a business college, there's some of the things that I study every single day. Why did that business go broke and why is that business successful? What happened to those people that they couldn't keep up with the times, or they didn't have the things in place to make sure they could handle the current challenge that was happening in the world? And why did this business thrive? Why has that business done exceptionally well? And it's been interesting to watch, particularly in my profession, which is the exercise profession. There's been a lot of health clubs, personal training studios, gyms, boot camps that have gone broke. There's absolutely no doubt about that. There's an argument that that's probably a good thing, and every time there's some kind of challenge in the world, in the community, in the country, there's some kind of government, that there's a recession or there's a depression or that the economy's not doing well. It's been suggested that it's really good that the businesses that were never meant to be in business in the first place, the ones that aren't passionate about what they do, the ones that aren't good at what they do, they can't survive those times, of course. And then the ones that have got good risk management policies, they have planned for the future. As I always ask the question, what's the absolute worst case scenario? What's the worst thing that can happen? Plan for it so that when it does happen, you can thrive from it, not just survive it. So it's an interesting headspace. It's a different headspace. So why is it that some gyms, some personal training studios, some boot camps, they just couldn't survive? They failed. Some have just kept their head above water, and hopefully they'll get better. But there's always average businesses, and there's some businesses that have just they've doubled, quadrupled their business, even though the rest of the same business has done it terribly. Why is that? And there's lots of answers to that question, of course. But if we go back to why do we do business with people, what if I ask you this question? Whenever you don't have any money, or you think you might have to tighten your budget, or you're scared that, I should be saving all of my money to make sure that if there's dark times, I'll have money to survive, there's always going to be something, and what is your something, that you can't live without? What is it, the thing that doesn't matter what's happening in the world, you would always do it, or buy it, or invest in it? So some people will tell you, I'll always get my hair cut, or I'll always get my nails done, or I'll always buy a certain kind of wine, or I will always invest in my exercise professional, my personal exercise coach, or I'll always keep my gym membership, or I'll always get a massage. There's always something in your life, and you'll have something too that doesn't matter. Even if you're broke, you'll always find the money because it's really important to you. So there's a great question to ask. Is my business tough time proofed? So whatever happens in the world, is my business in a position where people treat it as their third place, so they love going there, it's not intimidating, it's safe, they want to be able to keep going there, and then what is it about what we do that they couldn't live without? So even if they don't have any money, they would find a way to be able to afford it. And very interestingly, in a world where judgment and criticism and differences of opinion, arguments and now fights and even wars are happening in regards to political persuasion, your opinion of what the government's doing right or wrong, climate change, medical interventions. There's all sorts of really ugly arguments going on in the world. It's been really interesting to take note that the businesses that want people to like them, trust them, and have something in common with them, it's been a theme throughout, from the beginning of any worldwide challenge all the way through the worldwide challenge, is a non-judgment policy, if you want to use that word. I'm not a fan of that word. But I've had the pleasure of being involved with lots of businesses who have made it part of their business philosophy, part of their business plan, part of their third place philosophy. So they want people to feel safe and comfortable there. Part of their, I want you to like me, trust me, and have something in common with me. That the common thing is that we don't judge here. And for example, if you have a gym or a personal training studio, exercise studio, place of exercise, is it possible there's a lot of people that before they even come there, they would feel that to go to a place like that, they could be judged for their size, for their weight, for the way they look, for their clothing, whether or not they're fit enough or strong enough. There's a lot of people that say, I've got to get fit to go to the gym, or I've got to get into great shape or lose weight to be able to go to the gym. Well, it seems that the exercise businesses that have always used a philosophy of no judgment. We don't care whether you're tall or short, fat or skinny, old or young, fit or unfit, weak or strong. We want you to feel welcome in our environment. We want our health club, our gym, our personal training studio, our boot camp to be your third place. We want you to feel totally comfortable and safe, but most importantly, no judgment. And it's been interesting to watch then when you add into that a worldwide medical challenge or a global financial crisis or bushfires or floods or droughts or lots of arguments about political persuasion, even religious beliefs now, there's a lot of argument. If you can go to a place where none of that is discussed, and I'll go a step even further, of course, when you're talking about exercise studios, you'd have to consider arguments about food and arguments about exercise. That's a good or a bad exercise, that's good or bad food. And it seems that there's, in some, and I've personally seen it, sometimes it looks like there's going to be a physical punch-up, and I have actually seen people get fisticuffs about whether or not an exercise is good or bad, or whether a training program is good or bad, or whether a nutritional plan is good or bad. Well, that environment, if you've ever been somewhere where there's people fighting, arguing, and there's confrontation, it's very uncomfortable. It won't feel like the third place that you want to go with Frank and Philip and Fred, because it's not nice, it's not comfortable, it's intimidating, it's confrontational, it's ugly. Have you ever walked into a room where you can tell when you walk in the room that there's tension in the room, there's friction? Those people, it feels like they've just had a fight in there, or there's been an argument, or there's something horrible going on in there. Versus, have you ever walked into a room and went, wow, this room's got a great vibe, we call it. It feels positive in here, it feels happy in here. Well, that's the question I'm asking. When people do business with you, when your customers and clients come in contact with you, will they feel like it's their third place? They can trust the environment. They feel non-judged in the environment. Nobody's going to ask them uncomfortable questions in the environment. They can wear what they want, or they can speak however they want, or they can have an opinion. What is it that you're going to do with your business to make it a third place for your customers and clients? And people often ask me, Rowie, my business is not doing very well, or it's doing averagely, or we're just keeping our head above water. What do we need to do to make sure that our business is financially secure? And that's one of the questions I always ask. What have you done in your business to create a third place for your customers and clients? What have you done to make sure that your product or service is something that your customers and clients can't live without? Even if there's major challenges financially in their life, they say, doesn't matter, we'll drop off something else, but we don't want to stop this. And I'll give you an interesting example when it comes to exercise businesses. There's two in particular that I know who, even though they had to be closed during a worldwide medical challenge, the government actually said, no, nobody can do any business, you have to close your doors. Their members not only wanted to keep paying the gym, even though they couldn't go to the gym, and yes, those facilities put online services or made online services available, but here was the interesting flow-through philosophy for the members. We want to make sure that when we can go back to the gym, we want the gym to be there. We can't come at the moment, but the minute we can get out of our house, the minute that Happy Homestay is over, or the minute I get out of Happy Hotel Stay, I want to make sure that my gym's going to be open, or my personal training studio is going to be there, or the place that I exercise is going to be available to me. Now, I don't know how excited you are about that, but for me, that is the ultimate business, isn't it? That if people, even if they can't use your product or service, they still want to pay for it to make sure that when they can use it, it's going to be available to them. If people have a third place, they want it to be open. They don't want their pub to close down. They don't want their nightclub to close down. They don't want their beach to be closed, or their playground, or their gym, or the place, their third place, where when they walk up to that front door, when they walk into that business, and when they come in contact with that business, it gives them a feeling of safety, security, freedom, non-judgment, non-intimidation. And that's the ultimate product, isn't it? That I want it, even if I've got no money, I'm going to find a way to afford it. I want to keep paying for it, even if I can't use it, because I want to make sure it's available to me when I can use it. And the people that I go there to associate with, I like them, I trust them, and I have something in common with them. I love the way they make me feel. Now, all of this, everything to do with third place is about emotions, of course. There's no logical explanation for why would I choose to go to that particular cafe because it feels like my third place. It just feels. And that's something that's difficult to put into a system, of course, because it's not logical. It's a feeling, it's emotional. So if this is the logical emotional scale, third place is way up here on the emotional scale. Why do you always go to that pub? I just like the way it makes me feel. Why do you always go to that gym? I like the way I feel when I'm there. Why do you have to keep going to that business? Because it adds value to my life. So if you go back to the absolute staunch philosophy of a great business is you have to be totally passionate about what you do. So do you love your business, your product or service? Do you want to be the best in the world for your customers and clients, which means you do ongoing training, education, learning. You want to keep getting better and better at what you do because you want to be the best in the world for your customers and clients. So number 1 is passion. Number 2 is best in the world for your customers and clients. And number 3 is you want to add massive value to their lives. Now that's called the sweet spot. If you live in between passion, best in the world, and add massive value, if you live smack in the middle, of course your business will be successful. But it's interesting that the emotional side of that, which is why will you add value to people's lives? Why will they feel that you are doing constantly wanting to become better and better at what you do? Is it possible that that emotional connection needs to be built emotionally? There's a lot of businesses now who talk about going automated or making sure that we do automatic responses to emails or, spend more time out of your business rather than in your business. It's one of those interesting myths because the best visionaries, the best business owners in the world, they're still working in their business and they don't want to be working on their business, not in it. They absolutely love their business and they love going to their business every single day. Is it possible that your customers and clients will feel that? If you own a gym or a personal training studio or a health club and you're there to greet people and they feel connected to you because they like you, they trust you and they've got something in common with you, is it possible that they want to keep coming? They'll want to keep coming even if the doors are closed because the government's closed you down, or they'll want to keep coming. And I'll use another example. There are lots of businesses now where you might pay online. And I've got a beautician where for me, this is the ultimate example of this. I have Julia is just one of the best beauticians that I've ever been involved with. Now what happens is I go to Julia and I can only go if I've booked online and paid online, and if I have to cancel, I don't get my money back 24 hours before my appointment, which is a really interesting philosophy in her business, but that's just the cold hard facts of the business. And I don't care because I've never missed a session. I've never wanted to miss a session. I've never wanted to cancel not going. I work my way around that because it adds such massive value to my life. So I pay for my beautician online. I go to my session, and the very first thing I do when I get home from visiting my beautician is I go straight back to my computer, I get out my credit card and I pay for my very next session and book it in advance. Now for me, that's probably the ultimate, consider that for your business. Do my customers and clients have such a passion for what I do that they want to pay for it in advance? So Julia has my money in her bank account 2 weeks or 4 weeks in advance. Before I even go and use the service, I've already paid for it. I don't want to miss. If she goes on holidays, I want to make sure that I get sessions in before and sessions after. And I'm sharing this with you very personally because I can understand this. Because this is how when I was a full-time personal exercise coach, that is exactly how my business worked. I had clients who would come to me with their diary open in July. And they would say, I've worked out that my exercise session with you, Rowie, is on Christmas Day. And I just wanted to work out in advance to make sure, will you be training me on Christmas Day? Because I know that you do train people on Christmas Day. Or will I need to do a session before and a session after to make up for my if I have to miss out on Christmas Day? Or I'm going on holidays for 2 weeks at Christmas and I just wanted to make sure that I can book my sessions before and after my holiday to make sure that I don't miss out. Business is not complicated. Business is exciting and simple, or could it be, if you are passionate about what you do, If you want to keep learning and training and educating and getting better at what you do, so it's a daily process of how can I add more value to my customers and clients. And the third part, which is I want to add massive value. I want to create a third place where people feel safe and comfortable and non-intimidated and non-judged. And I will just ask very personally from my heart to yours, could you create a place for people in a world we live right now where people are judged constantly. They're arguing with their family, they're arguing with their friends. If you've got a different political opinion to your friends, to your family, it's going to be a big challenge right now. If you agree with what the government's doing or you don't agree with what the government's doing, there's going to be people on both sides of that argument in your life. And there literally are people who share with me now on a day-to-day basis, my family hates me, or I'm fighting with my partner, or I'm getting a divorce, or my next door neighbours don't talk to me anymore. Wouldn't it be nice to create a place for people, a third place, where they could go without judgment, without being told that they're right or wrong, without having an argument about their opinion? There's been quite a few businesses who have used this particular philosophy. Our business is C-word free, which is quite interesting. We're not going to talk about that C thing. We're going to create a place for people, because people are bombarded by the media, by the government, by their next door neighbours, by the newspaper, by the radio, by a worldwide pandemic medical crisis. We're not talking about that here. We want to create a place for people to feel safe, and how about this? Have a great time, have a laugh, feel comfortable that there isn't going to be some kind of manipulation or brainwashing, or we think you should have this opinion, why haven't you got this opinion? Wouldn't it be nice to create a place for people, a third place, where your Fred or your Philip or your Frank can hang out with you and feel like being with you, investing time with you is something that they want to do. They want to invest time, they want to invest money, they want to invest energy, because you've created a place where not only can they buy a great product or service or experience a great product or service, but they experience people that they like, they trust, that they have something in common with, and they love being involved with you. Could that make your business more successful, more profitable, and it's very, very selfishly more fun for you to be involved with, because the people that are coming to invest time with you want to be there because you've created such a great environment. Could that help your business be even more successful? Wouldn't that be awesome?